increase speed is exactly the same, but here, you leave the brakes on. That's the difference. Here, you begin your countersteer a bit earlier. That's how you keep control and drift with understeer. Oops, I thought I had that one. But hey, even monkeys fall from trees. The car had too much speed on that one. So, the important thing here is to keep the weight transition small. Delicate weight shifting is the key here. Like here, I go in like this, but I'll let go of my brakes early.
You can tell by looking at the G-ball that the weight transition is smoother compared to the S14.
This is how you drift with cars that have strong oversteer. You countersteer as soon as the tail slides. Earlier countersteer is important, and the speed, you have to start countersteering at high speeds like this. That's how you drift with oversteer cars like the MR2. The difference between the cars I've shown today is like this. The S13, the car with strong understeer, needs big weight shifting. The S14, which has neutral steer, only needs braking drift technique to go into the corners smoothly. Whereas strong oversteer cars, like the MR2, need stability as you brake into the corner. You're carrying a heavy load of weight in the rear that makes the car unstable and wobbly when you're going in. So, stabilize the rear weight and go into the corner, adjusting the amount of your braking according to the steering angle. The amount of weight transition is about half of what you have with an S14. And with only half the pressure on the brakes, these cars can turn in at the same angle as the S14. The S14's countersteer is sharp compared to that of the MR2, so what must be done on the MR2 is the exact opposite. When you steer in, let off the brakes early. The tail end will react and start to slide. Then you countersteer. On the S14, I countersteer at this rate, but on the MR2, I steer like this and wham. That's the kind of difference in steering speed. The important thing here is the speed of your countersteer. Not just here on the first hairpin, but here on the S-curve, and right here as well. When going downhill, the weight becomes larger, so the rear becomes easier to get thrown out. So it's better to turn small here on the first one, so that you can drift on the second corner. Same here. You don't want any understeer or get thrown towards the outside on the first one, as these cars with strong oversteer won't be able to recover by the second corner that's coming right up. So just turn small on the first one, and on the second one, just lightly step on the brakes or let go of the gas to get the momentum change. Then you can control with a quick countersteer. Compared to FR cars, these mid-engine cars have good traction. Therefore, the driver has to act quickly and perform the next move earlier. You can wait for the tail slide to ease down a bit before you hit the gas on FR cars. But on these mid-engine cars, you don't wait. But you hit the gas while the car is still sliding. You have to get the car to power slide immediately. And without stopping the tail slide you're in during the midsection of the corner. Everything has to be done earlier on mid-engine cars compared to FR machines.
Mid-engine cars, like the MR2, have heavier loads towards the rear compared to FR cars. So mid-engine cars tend to have a stronger grip with the rear tires. Hitting the gas early makes the rear tires lose traction, which enables the car to slide and drift. The big difference between the S13 and the S14 is that the action needed to trigger the tail slide is smaller. You don't need big braking maneuvers or steering work to slide the tail and drift. Further, by checking the different laps, you can see Tsuchiya stepping on the brakes with more pressure, but the tail doesn't slide. So he gives it gas, but even that doesn't make the car slide. The last thing he did was letting off the gas to get the car to go sideways. This proves how Tsuchiya can instantly change his applied techniques according to the situation he is facing.
Okay, now, how do you drift with a car that doesn't have much power? What I'll be explaining to you here is from way back when I used to drive the Hachiroku every day and night. And that's like 15 years ago. With this car, it's all about flooring the gas pedal all the way from the entrance to the exit. This car's been nicely lowered as well. Mine used to look like this. You have to step on it to make this thing go sideways. With these underpowered cars, you just have to keep the gas on to get it into power drift mode. I just killed the power. But it's great that I can constantly floor this thing. This is great. I'm flooring it. It's so cool. I wish Toyota could make cars like this again. Shift down and put the pedal to the metal. It feels great. Just the right amount of power to have fun. This kind of power is just right for these M7 tires. Feels good. Now, this is fun. I'm literally flooring it the entire way. Do you know any other car that can do this? It's just great. What I'm doing is simply turning the car with the gas pedal. Step on the gas to make it turn, brake, and shift down, then step on the gas again. Step on it to let the rear go. You have to keep revving it within the torque band. Oops, I dropped it. Whoops. The instant you fall out of the torque band, you stop drifting. So make sure you rev it up enough to keep it up there. This is what I mean. So, how was drifting with an underpowered Hachiroku? This car is a classic.